Assalamualaikum. This is our project in subject record management process in business organization. We have three main title: introduction, ISO 15489, and indexing. For the first one, introduction. The objective of this project is to identify the record management practice in an organization, to explain the process of records management according to ISO 15489, included with the record life cycle. For record life cycle, we have 5, which is creation, distribution, use, maintenance, and disposition. For the second title is 15 ISO 15489. We have 7 main topic, which is capture, registration, classification, access and security classification, storage, use and tracking, and implementation of disposition. Actually, ISO 15489 is the process of managing records systematically. The number one, capture. Capture is the process of determining that a record should be made and kept. This includes both records creation and received by the organization, such as correspondence and memos. It involves deciding which documents are captured, which in turn implies decisions about who may have access to those documents and generally how long they are to be retained. We have two subtopics. The number one is capture can be affected by, and the number two is need to capture metadata. Okay, we go to the number one. In paper record system, capture can be affected by three main causes. The first one, physically placing a document into a chronological sequence which within a file or folder that contain a title. Second one is papers added progressively to file may be dated or numbered sequentially to provide additional security in defining the series of action. The third one is additional indexing points may be added subsequently to the file to ensure that the specific document can be located and retrieved. The second one, systems that captured records also need to be captured metadata associated with a record in a way that describe the record both what it contains and the context of the business taking place. Enable that the record to be fixed representation of action. Enable the record to be retrieved and rendered meaningful. We go to the second topic, which is registration. Registration specifies the following metadata as a minimum. Its purpose is to provide evidence that a record has been created or captured in a record system. It involves recording brief, descriptive information about the record in a register and assigning the record a unique identifier. What is unique identifier? Unique identifier assigned. Unique identifier assigned from the system with recipient, text description or abstract, date and time of communication and receipt, access, author, sender, document name or title, date of creation, classification according to the classification scheme. Okay, now we go to the third topic, which is classification. Classification system that related to business functions may provide a systematic framework for records management analysis for the purpose of developing the business activity classification identifies all of an organization's activities and locates them in the framework of its stated or mandate, mission or purposes. We have two subtopics, which is tools and hierarchical. The first one, top tools. Classification system provide an organization with a tool to link and share interdisciplinary records either internally or externally to the organization. Organize, describe and link its records. Provide improved access, retrieval and dissemination of its records as appropriate. Classification system is usually hierarchical and reflects the analytical process. We have three different levels. For the level 1, usually reflects the business function. Level number 2, based on the activities constituting the function. For level number 3 or more than level number 3, means that level 3 and above, further refinements of the activities or groups of transactions. This is topic number 4, access and security classification. Reasonable security and access will depend on both the nature and size of the organization as well as the content and value of the information requiring security. Reasonable security can be described as the level of security needed to protect the information from any unauthorized access, collection, use, disclosure, deletion, alteration, or destruction. Reasonable for one organization may be a locked filing room, while for another it may be locked, guarded, and limited access filing room with video cameras. Access classification apply to people, both those who are responsible for managing the access classified records and others with right to access. Here, for this topic, this is the topic number 4. We have 3 subtopics. Number 1, assigning rights of restrictions to access. It is to identify transaction or business activity that the record documents. Second one is identify the business unit to which the record belongs. Records the access or security status of the record in the records system to signal the need for additional control measures. Allocate the appropriate level of access or restriction to the record and specify appropriate control mechanism for handling. Check the access and security classifications to establish whether the activity and the business area are identified as areas of risk or have security considerations and or legally required restrictions. This is the second one. Access to records may be restricted to protect personal information and privacy, intellectual property rights, and commercial confidentiality, legal and other professional privilege, state security, and the last one is security of property, physical and financial. This is the level. Level 1 for court users. Level 2 for official users outside the court who frequently submit filing and need information from the system. For example, the record. There must be protection from access to unauthorized section of the system, from submission of incorrect data and records, and from direct entry of data and records. Level 3 for unofficial users means that the public, there must be protection from any access that goes beyond viewing limited sections of the system's data and records. This is topic number 4, storage. Without proper storage, records cannot be retained or kept for as long as it needed. Appropriate storage conditions ensure that the records are protected, accessible, and managed in a cost-effective manner. For this topic, we have the 3 basic factors for selecting storage. The first one, need for storage supplies and equipment. The kinds of records to be filed and controlled. The frequency of use for each kind of record during the day. The number of people working at files at one time. The volume of records that to be handled in a given period of time, such as 6 months or a year. The method of filing best suited to handling the record, alphabetic, geographic, numeric, or a combination of these methods. The type of charge out and follow out of system use. The transfer method used. The physical characteristics such as weight, floor space required, need for temperature and humidity control, and the particular physical preservation requirements for the record media. The security and retention requirements of the records, the organization and distribution of records, centralized or decentralized. The second one, facility consideration. The facility needs to consider the following factors. Location. The location should be easily accessed and should not be areas of known external risk. Availability of equipment. Manual retrieval equipment. Vertical file cabinet, lateral file cabinet, shelf files, tab files, mobile shelving, suspension files. Mechanical retrieval equipment. File storage equipment with an engine. Records are delivered to the filer by some kind of motor driven. Storage others records, catalogs and directories. Large and odd size record, mixed media. Number 3, building structure. The building structure should provide the suitable range and stability of temperature and humidity level protection, protection against water damage, protection from contaminants, safety measures, controlled access to storage areas, detection systems for unauthorized entry, and protection against damage caused by insect or vermin. This is topic number 3, subtopic number 3 for topic number 5. Cost of supply, storage, and equipment. In determining the cost, keep in mind these following points. The first one, cost of the personnel needed to work with the record, compatibility of supplies and equipment, advisability of using local vendors rather than purchasing from out-of-town vendors, possibility of discounts for quantity purchases, feasibility of choosing used rather than new equipment, volume of records that can be stored within the equipment. Lateral, shelf, or rotary equipment can house more square feet of records than can conventional drawer file cabinets in the same square footage of floor space. Settled for topic number 5. Now we are moving to topic number 6, which is use and tracking. Use of the record is a records management transaction that may need to be captured by the system to form part of the metadata. Records used include providing record users with search, retrieval, and display tools, and enforcing record access and security transaction. Use of the record may affect its access and disposition status. For topic number 6, we have 2 subtopics. The first one, managing the use of records. We have 4 points for managing the use of record. The first one, identify the access and security status of records. Second one, identify the access right for people external to the organization. Number 3, identify the record system user permissions related with individual and their positions with the organization. And the last one, ensure that only individuals with the appropriate user classification or security rights have access to records with restricted status. This is the second subtopic for topic number 6, tracking of records. The tracking of record used with record system is a security measure for organizations. It ensures that only those users with appropriate permission are performing records tasks for which that have been authorized. Tracking systems have to meet the test of locating any record with an appropriate time period and ensuring that all movements are traceable. This is the topic number 7, disposition. Implementation of disposition. Disposition is the action taken with regards to records as a consequence of their appraisal and the expiration of their retention period. The implementation of disposition will be effected and successful if the organization could refer to the records retention, records inventory, and destruction schedule of the organization. The implementation of disposition is based on these 3 basics. The first one, preservation. Preservation is an action taken to retard or prevent deterioration or damage to records or documents by control of their environment and treatment. Preservation strategies can include copying, conversion, and migrations of records. Copying. Copying the production of identical copy within the same type of medium, such as papers, microfilm, and electronic. For example, from paper to paper, microfilm to microfilm, or the production of backup copies of electronic records, which can also be made on a different kind of electronic medium. Second one, conversion. Conversion involves a change of the format of the records, but ensure that the record retains the primary information. For example, microfilm of paper records, imaging, and change of character sets. Migration. Migration involves a set of organization tasks to periodically transfer digital material from hardware, software, configuration to another, or from one generation of technology to another. The purpose of migration is to preserve the integrity of the records and to retain the ability for clients to retrieve, display, otherwise use them. Migration may occur when hardware or software becomes obsolete or may be used to move electronic records from one file format to another. This is the subtopic for topic number 7, destruction. Methods of destruction. The most common method of destruction include the following: landfill, incineration or burning, shredding, recycling, destroying microfilm, destroying electronic records. This is the subtopic number 3 for topic number 7, transfer of custody or ownership records. Such a transfer of ownership or custody of records to another organization may include transfer to the other organizations with responsibility for the records, transfer to outsourced or contractor organizations, transfer to a storage facility, or transfer to an archive. If the electronic records are transferred, such issues as the following need to be considered: hardware and software compatibility, metadata, control and contextual information, data communication, technical information on data processing and data structure, licensing, agreements, and standards. Settle for ISO 15489. Now we go to the topic number 3, indexing. Indexing is a mental process of determining the filing segment by which record is to be stored in an order that follows a particular system. Indexing name for filing purpose. Select the filing segment, complete name, subject, number, or location. Divide the filing segment into filing units. Part of the filing segment and may be a word, a letter, a number, or any combination of these. Determine the order of filing units. Filing unit considered first in a filing segment is called the key units. Indexing rules for business names. We have 9 rules. ARMA, Association of Records Managers and Administrators. Indexing rules for business name follow ARMA's simplified alphabetic rules. Rule number 1. Order of filing units. Index business names as they are written using letterheads or trademarks as guide. If business names contain a personal name, index the name in the order it is written. Each word in a business name is a separate filing unit. You can see the example below. Dr. Nabila Clinic, the key unit Doctor, unit number 2 Nabila, unit number 3 Clinic. Okay, rule number 2. Minor words and symbols in business names. Spell them out in full when indexing manually. And, cent, numbers, dollars, ringgit, etc. Index all words in the name in the order they are written except for the word the. When the word the is the first word in a filing segment, consider it as the last filing unit. Articles, prepositions, conjunctions, and symbols in business names are separate filing units. Symbols are separate indexing also. You can see the symbol. Rule number 3. Punctuation and possessive. commas, periods, hyphens, apostrophes, exclamation points, question marks, slash marks, all of these are ignored. Close up the letters or words and index name as one unit. Same goes with electronic records system where the computer sorts punctuation marks before letters. Rule number 4, single letters and abbreviations. When single letters are part of business or an organization name, index the letter as they are written. If a space separates the letters, each letter is a separate unit. Letters written in without spaces are one unit. You can see the example below. Rule number 5, title and suffixes. All title in business names is indexed is indexed as written. You can see the following example. Rule number 6, prefixes, articles, and particles. Combine an article or particle in a personal or business name with the part of the name following it to from one filing unit. You can see the example, and below that is the example of articles and particles. A apostrophe, AL apostrophe, until founder. Rule number 7, numbers in business names. Arrange alphabetically any numbers spelled out in business name. Arrange numbers 3, 4, 5 in example in business names in ascending order before all alphabetic letters or words. For example, the name 7-Eleven food store become before the name Ali restaurant. Why? Because we have to arrange numbers first. The second one, when numbers appear in other than the key unit in a name parenthesis, arrange the name alphabetically but immediately before a similar name without a number. For example, the number before photographers becomes before the name Baba Bookstore. The third one, ignore the letter endings when arranging digit numbers that contain ST, RD, and D, first, third, second. Consider only the digits, such as 21, 2, or 4. Be sure to place in ascending order 2, 4, 21. Rule number 8, organizations and institutions. Index and file all organizations and institutions according to the names written or from the letterhead. The used as the first word in a name is considered the last filing unit. You can see the example. Organizations and institutions include banks, financial institutions, clubs, college, hospitals, hotels, motels, museums, religious institutions, schools, universities, etc. The last rule, rule number 9, identical names. When personal names and names of businesses, institutions, and organizations are identical, addresses determine the correct filing order. Although not considered to be indexing units, addresses are a secondary means of distinguishing between identical names. You can see the Example below. Compare addresses in this order: city names, state of province names, and street names. Alhamdulillah, we have settled all topics for record management process in business organizations. Topic number 3. Thank you. From me, Eddy Effendi bin Ibrahim, and my partner Amirul Haziq bin Muhammad Radhi. Thank you to Sir Jafarizan bin Jaafar for teaching us for this semester. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and have a nice day.